I always thought Genshin Impact looks very pretty. Mondstadt being farmlands, Liyue being vast and mountainous, Inazuma having a somewhat tropical atmosphere, and Dragonspine being the icy rock. Whilst I love all these areas with all their unique colors, it made me think, these things never changed, did they? Leading me to make this video. Hi, I'm Impact, and I want to answer whether there are seasons in the world of Teyvat, what shape its planet has, and why the seasonal events, such as the Lantern or the Windbloom Festival, happen at the time they do. To discuss whether there are seasons, we first have to remember what seasons are and how they come to be. Obviously, we have 4 seasons: spring, summer, autumn, and winter, going from mild to warm to chilly to cold. Why is that? We know Earth looks more or less like this. During a year, it rotates around the sun. Now, because of the tilt and the rotation around the sun, we get higher or lower concentration of sunlight, depending on our current progress of the rotation, giving us seasons. Let's apply this knowledge to the world of Teyvat. Do we have changing seasons in Genshin Impact? Yes, we do, but not in the classical sense. We have calendar-based events, such as the Lantern Festival, and the people of Teyvat need some way to know when it's time for those festivals again. As the Lantern Festival represents the Chinese New Year, sometimes called the Lunar New Year, I think we can assume that the moon calendar exists within Teyvat. I don't know how they find out what time of the year it is, as there are no changing seasons, and there's always a full moon, but hey, what do I know? As we can now say that time passes in Teyvat, why don't the seasons change? You remember that Earth is round and it rotates around the sun with a tilted angle? Well, Teyvat isn't round. We can check that by just looking around. If the world would be round, you could only see a certain distance of the world before the remains disappear behind the horizon. This is not the case in Teyvat, as you can see endlessly far. Whilst I like the idea of a spinning flat Teyvat rotating around the sun, I think it's far from that. In the very first event of Genshin Impact, Scaramouche said the whole sky is a hoax, meaning that we most likely don't have a classic universe. What I think is to be the most likely case is that Teyvat is locked inside of a capsule, which would explain somewhat why we don't have visible differences in seasons as we do have in our world. There is a video made by the Facepalm III, which explains the story of the moon in more detail if you want to know more about it, and why I think it's a capsule. Link is in the description. As for the time-based events such as the Lantern Festival, whilst they have taken inspiration from the real world, they have different celebrations in mind. The Lantern Festival is to honor the fallen warriors of Liyue. Its equivalent being the Lunar New Year Festival, celebrated in China and some neighboring countries as mentioned before. The Windbloom Festival is most probably a day of remembrance, as it was celebrated regularly after the former tyrant of Mondstadt, the Caribbean, has been dealt with. Another possible reason of celebration is the birth of Barbados, as the Christian Easter is celebrating the resurrection of Jesus. Both events have a counterpart in the real life. Whilst their dates more or less align, their origins are different, meaning that for upcoming regional events, we have to look for special events in the countries they represent. In Inazuma's case, I would think of the Golden Week, and for Sumeru, the Hindu Shivaratari. The only problem of this theory being that they are in a span of 4 months, so we'll see how that will work out. As for this year's Christmas event, I think Mihoyo kind of derped it, as during Christmas, the Ito banner will be up instead of the current Albedo Eula banner, which would make more sense as Mondstadt represents most of Europe so far. On the other hand, in the world of Teyvat, Christmas does not exist. You might get some kind of login reward, as we did during the anniversary, if we're lucky. In conclusion then, I think we have a world in a capsule with some kind of lunar calendar and festivals that happen to align with our real-world festivals, such as the Lunar New Year and Easter, when we tend to loosen our pockets easier. Subscribe to get updated when a new video hits the shelf. It would mean the world to me. See you in the next one.